schedule, kind of speeding up that timeline?
Yeah, I mean, it feels definitely feels like we got about a third of the season left. In a normal 82, especially with trade deadline coming up and stuff like that going on. It feels like there's definitely a little bit amped up excitement. Kind of getting ready for the push here. So only halfway done with the season, but it feels like we're two-thirds of the way through and kind of going for this playoff push here.
We'll go next to Gary Santaniello. Go ahead, Gary.
Following up on that, how have you felt about all these 2 and 3 game series, especially knowing that all the points are staying within your division?
Yeah, I mean, I think in the beginning it was definitely something new and exciting. Getting to, if you lose a game, you get a chance to get them back the next game, and if you win, you're trying to kind of put them behind you even more with a little bit of a series sweep or whatnot. So, it's definitely an interesting dynamic for sure. I don't know over the course of 82 if this is the best design going forward, but it's definitely made for some interesting rivalries, and you kind of get a bunch of games, especially if I think like Montreal right now, this is like our 6th game against them in the last like 10 or 12. So you start to develop a little bit of a rivalry, and you can tell on the ice.
We'll go next to Paul Friesen from the Winnipeg Sun. Go ahead, Paul.
Andrew, how does where you are right now at the midpoint of the season and how you got here compare to kind of what your expectations were for this team heading in?
Well, I feel like a lot's kind of happened, with the Patty Doobie trade. I guess Helly picking up right where he left off. So, I think we got a lot of belief in our room. I don't know, standings wise, points wise, if you really think about that, I think you really just kind of think in general how you feel about your team. And I think we've always had pretty good belief, since I've been here. So, we've put ourselves in a good position, and we kind of need to continue on that and continue to improve because other teams will as well. And, we want to be hitting our stride at the right time of year.
We'll go next to Christian Treptow from NHL.com Germany. Go ahead, Christian.
Yeah. Hi, Andrew. Zdeno Chara turns 44, and I'd like to know, what do you think about him still playing at this level, at NHL level at 44? How is it to play against him, and what are your plans when you turn 44?
When I turn 44, I do not think I'll be in the NHL. I can tell you that. I guess you never really know, but yeah, it's pretty amazing to see, how he takes care of his body and, being able to play at such an old age and at such unique, height and weight too. He's so big, and I feel like a lot of those guys can kind of end up being out of the league even sooner just because it's so hard on their joints and whatnot. And for him to play to 44, it makes it maybe even more impressive. So luckily we don't have to play against him this year. He's not exactly fun to go against in the corners, but obviously he's having an impact on Washington. They're having a great year.
We'll go next to Jeff Hamilton from the Winnipeg Free Press. Go ahead, Jeff.
Andrew, you have a bit of a luxury just kind of having that chemistry with Adam Lowry and obviously Mason as well. But you've also played up and down the lineup. And so my question really is, when you are playing with other players who you don't have familiarity with, what is the best way to get chemistry? I don't want to say necessarily right away, but as soon as possible.
Score goals. I think as soon as I think the good feeling sets in right away. When you have success right away, I think, when you're, maybe not as successful right away is kind of when you start to, maybe talk a little bit more and maybe try and figure out each other's tendencies so you can kind of get on the same page a little quicker. And look for each other, make each other feel more involved in the game. I think that's part of my game, I guess, is kind of always looking for other guys, get other guys to, feel good about their game, move the puck, get them involved, and let them do what they're best at. So I think you kind of see that with Stas too. He kind of ends up with, chemistry with whoever he plays with just based on, him trying to get other guys involved and let them do what they do best because he's just always in the right spot and always doing the right thing. So Yeah, usually, I mean, chemistry can either instantly click and you can feel like you play together, your entire lives, and you feel really good about where you're going after some success, or if not, then you just got to work and talk a little bit more.
Just a couple more for Andrew. I'll go next to Kelly Moore from CJOB. Go ahead.
Hey, Andrew, you mentioned that the rivalry is starting to build with Montreal with how often you've played them here in the last little bit. So would it be accurate, at least from the eyeball test, to ask you if Montreal is the most frustrating opponent to play against when you go from the perspective of killing plays in the defensive zone, frustrating you guys on your breakouts, forcing you maybe into making the longer passes? Like, does all that show up on the videotape and from your personal experience playing them as well?
I mean, they're good at reloading. They're good at putting pressure on the puck. They're good at frustrating you throughout the game. I think you can kind of say that depending on how things are going. I guess you could say that about other teams too, when you're playing them 3 or 4 times in a row. If you're not getting, maybe the offensive success or maybe the results on the scoreboard that you want, I think you'll say whatever team you're playing against is frustrating you. So to say that they're the most, I don't know, but right now they're doing a really good job of staying on top of our forwards, not giving us a lot of easy plays and making us work for every offensive chance we get. So I mean, we got to do the same to them, and try and get more traffic in front of Price, and continue to put pucks behind their D and make them go 200 feet every time.
And final question to Ken Weaver from Sportsnet. Go ahead, Weaver.
Andrew, your core group has experience, whether it's battling for first place or a playoff spot in the Central. I mean, how will you lean on that during this compressed second half?
Yeah, I think, I mean, we've had some experience going through this, the last 3 or 4 years now. So I think we're comfortable with where we're at, and, not getting caught up in the day-to-day standings or anything like that. Just kind of continue to build on our game. I think we've done a pretty good job of focusing in on that over the last few years, not, looking at scenarios or anything like that of where we could end up or who we could be playing, blah, blah, blah. So I think, we just kind of continue to work on where our game's at and continue to improve. And like I said, hit our stride, hit our best hockey at the right time of year.
Thanks very much, Andrew.